So we are doing pick 1, pick 2, and pick 3. And the reading is going to be your Rainbow Bridge. And I can't really describe it now because I haven't done the reading yet, but I kind of have a feeling about how it's going to be. And we're going to talk about some earthly things and some soul perspective things, okay? So use your own intuition to decide which pile has a message for you. We're just going to take it slow. I think there's a lot of information that's going to come through. And it's going to be pick 1, pick 2, and pick 3. Okay. I'm going to start with pick 1. Pick 1. Who are you as a person? We'll pick 1. It says here, let me see. You have very good intuition. You are on a path of self-love. You might have a few perfectionist tendencies, which might get you stuck sometimes, but you're very disciplined in yourself. You shine very bright, like the sun, have a lot of vitality, do things based on fun. You have a warmth to you. You are successful. You remain positive even in the face of challenge. You're not afraid to shine a light on things that aren't working or that may be dark. You may present as very moody because you do feel your emotions very deeply. And at times you can be activated into coping mechanisms which cause you to cut people off abruptly, maybe snap back. I think you like to look for the bright side, and if somebody's willing to show it to you, you are happy to look. Your emotions may feel a bit overwhelming at times, or like something you don't want to deal with. But you're a very loving person. You value relationships. Maybe you like to keep your options open. You try to create harmony, or very much value the relationships where there is harmony, and that you spend time with others whose values align with yours. You're always being inspired to new ideas, and it may be hard to keep your attention on one thing, especially if you don't love it. You are on a spiritual path, and you may know that there are some beliefs that you have that feel like your comfort zone. Like you're keeping them because you know they're comfortable. You're very, very creative. Okay. Oh, excuse me. Oh, sorry I didn't pause in time for that. I'm probably not going to edit it out either. So you may be a person who has had some experiences that caused PTSD type coping and reactions in you. We did talk about that before. It might cause you to cut people off or be really abrupt or bitchy, or snap back a little bit. Okay. So in this trauma deck, I had asked for something that influences your life and maybe even what you're here to do. So I don't think this is going to be holding you back, if it is at all anyway now. Let's see, then we have asked for some images that may be relevant to you, and I'm going to give you these as I just talk about what I feel with them. And this is that I think you value working out, that you're very strong, that you understand that it's important to take care of your body, that you maybe take on more than your brunt of the burden, like, you know, the weight of the world on your shoulders kind of thing. Things that are heavy don't deter you. I think you are juggling a lot of heavy things a lot of the time. And I think that there may be the blocks that you have of the PTSD kind of stuff, or had, where maybe they inhibited your feminine energy or caused you to use your feminine energy in a different way. You're very watery, emotional, but you do like to have some structure. Maybe that's those comfort zones that we talked about. You have a lot of depth to you. And maybe even though you're very contained, it may feel like others are kind of being used by the divine to poke out of you the wounding that has to be released. So you may feel people coming up against you to poke on those places that hurt a little bit still. And it might feel like you're being tossed around violently sometimes, just in order to be repositioned. I think you've faced a lot of challenges, and you may have the attitude that there will always be more challenges. You may be kind of a workhorse at this point, willing to take on whatever challenge. And sometimes that includes going with the flow, though, or building a bridge to get from one place to the other. Even a bridge in some place someone else might have felt stuck forever. You will experience it until you're ready to, you've seen it from all the angles, and then you're ready to build a bridge where others wouldn't have or didn't. I think you're not afraid to put yourself first, that you understand it's very important to honor your emotions as well as others, but yours first, in order to stay fair. And I think there's many layers of knowledge to you based on what your experiences have been. And people only get to see a little bit of each of it. They don't know that you know a lot more about all the things that you present on the surface than what you do. Yeah, I think that not a lot of people have been invited in to see the depths of you. There's a lot more that you keep locked behind a door to protect yourself and to stay comfortable. But you find yourself to be a very soft, cuddly, curious, cute observer of humans. And I think what you show on the surface is enough to get you some sort of attention and love. Yeah, people don't see what you see. Well, they're kind of distracted with all their stuff. You're looking at things, maybe addressing the root causes of your PTSD issues, and just really not afraid to look where others won't look. not distracted by the busyness of the world that others, in a way others might be. And even if someone got into that door, I think that there's even more protection mechanisms there that they may find. It's not just a door, but it's another gate, you know? And so that's why when you're being poked, sometimes you have to be poked again and again and again, because it's held under a lot of protection. These were coping mechanisms that you built up to have to, you know, survive Earth. So these are not wrong. This is just, they're just trying to acknowledge. I think you know you're not alone, that there are other people that do like you do, but maybe you're not connected to them. And maybe you feel like you've only ever been with people who didn't choose you, that couldn't relate to you very well because they weren't going into those depths, that spread themselves thin, investing in others and not investing in you to the depth that they would need to know you very well. And I think you had to let people think that they knew you, or think that they were good enough, and that the relationship they were offering was good enough, because otherwise it was that or nothing, I think, at times. So maybe you settled for less than you deserved at times. That's your song, I'm Not the Only One, by Sam Smith. And this next set of cards is the factors. The factors of your connection with spirit. The things that could be deterring you or helping you. And we got burial, missed opportunity in reverse, and the occult in reverse. I think you've kept your feet on the ground and haven't just got swept up in the spiritual world. You really have immersed yourself in the experience of being human. And so, say there was some sort of missed opportunity, maybe you didn't even recognize it as such. It was to you just a choice to not go in that direction. I think you have lost people that you loved and cared about. You have loved ones that are deceased, and perhaps you have contact with them, whether you know it or not. You may be ignoring that a lot of the time to stay more grounded. Let's talk about how you take care of your body. I think that you trust God and have faith to help you through healing what ails you. I think you go to faith and prayer, and you expect that there will be a miracle. I think you understand that that's completely possible. And I think you also do your shadow work. You deal with the things from the past that have been holding you back, or that you've been using to cope in order to free yourself. And I think that is how you heal your body. You understand that these are rooted in energetic ties that can be addressed through the ether. Your strengths, that you have faith, that you trust, that you know things can happen for you without too much effort and pushing through and having to work hard or too hard. I think that you have, even though you're willing to look into the past, you also have foresight. So one of your strengths is that you are psychic. You're very intuitive. You can feel energy and predict it. And that you are aware of the need to transmute dense energies such as judgment, that you know how to forgive, you know how to honor how you feel, and then understand how the other feels in order to let go. That is a strength of yours. What may be going on with you now? Friendships, severe, there may be celebrating, a lot of communicating, thinking about your destiny, being pushed towards your destiny. Your hopes and dreams are coming to the forefront now. You're in a state of gratitude. Maybe there are things that you've been looking at and situations that you've been wanting that you don't really understand quite the risk of it. If you look at the mythology of Damocles, you could understand that better. So it's either the risk of communicating or not communicating. And so the risk of playing games, the risk of avoiding a conversation. You may not realize the risk towards your destiny, that the risk you're putting yourself in when it comes to achieving your destiny. This is having to do with partnerships. Interesting. And your free will, what you choose to put your energy for, and the wisdom that could be gained. You have wisdom from other lifetimes on Earth that you can be using towards this situation to resolve it. It's something that needs to be healed in your relating patterns. And it will change how the people you know see you and how you want the people you know to see you. Okay. And then I asked, in what ways does this pile 1 connect to spirit? You ask, you reach out to spirit, you ask your spirit guides or God or universe for help. And you take good care of yourself, so you make yourself a vessel excuse me, that can receive it. So I've had like a sneeze, and now I had like a scratchy throat all during this reading, so that's very interesting. And maybe you've been having kind of the sniffles, and maybe God or the universe has kind of put you out of commission for a little bit to rest, so that you can kind of strengthen and get ready for the next leg of your journey, so to speak. So you're being forced to be put in a position of caring for yourself. And energy scanning, you can feel energy. So you can feel when it's off, you can feel where it's lodged in a person, you can feel the root cause, and you can feel what the potential is of any energy. You do that by scanning and feeling. And so what needs to be said? So in terms of to your spirits, what needs to be said? I remember everything. Or maybe this has to do with the conversation that you needed to have, or the communication. I would be honored. So honor above pride. Being ready, making yourself a vessel that is ready to take in everything that you know from other lifetimes. And honoring that involves taking good care of your body. And surrender to the reality that this is it. This is something you may have been avoiding a long time to stay in comfort zones. Because some of your wounding patterns may have been carried over from other lifetimes. And so the protection mechanisms that you had, because you weren't supposed to be dealing with those things right off the bat, you needed to perfect earth things first. Those are now falling away, because now it's time for you to encompass these higher views that you always had access to, that you always had with you but didn't have access to yet. And if God or the universe wanted to remind you of anything, what would it be? Doors are opening. You decide. Rewards. Wild card. Yeah. That your free will matters. That it's not just them. It's not just faith that gets you there. Sometimes you have to act on the prompts that you get. And that those doors that you have all locked up and the gate that you have all locked up, it may be that somebody doesn't know they have to go that deep, you know? Like maybe you have to make some effort too. And I'm sorry, it says defensiveness, righting past wrongs, uprooting. God and the universe wants you to remember that there are things that happened in other lifetimes that are affecting you in this lifetime, and this is the lifetime you came to make it right. And so that means honoring what you remember and going towards what you know is the right thing. Surrendering the defense mechanisms, the doors, the gates, surrendering those so that you can do the right thing in this lifetime, the thing that you came to do. Okay? You've traversed a lot. You've traveled far. You have seen a lot. And it has caused you to have to adopt many coping mechanisms that are keeping you safe and secure. However, it is now time for you to honor your destiny. And so hopefully there's enough clues here with what you already know and feel as true for yourself that will help you proceed to the next leg of your journey. And it does say that you're going to need to take things slow, but not that you wouldn't be taking action. You're slowing down until you know what to do, but then you take the action, because faith doesn't just get you the whole way. You still have to take action. Our free will is part of our faith, right? We take the leap of faith. That's an action we take. Okay, that's part of everybody's spiritual journey. So surrendering to what the outcome might be, surrendering the defense mechanisms that kept us from proceeding and taking the leap, remembering what we can in the stillness before we take the leap so that we know we can trust ourselves. We know that we've lived many, many other lifetimes or many, many other experiences in this lifetime where we have survived. So we can trust ourselves to survive this too. Okay, Pile 1. Well, thank you so much for your time, and I hope you find this helpful. And I'm going to move on to pile number 2. And I hope that rainbow bridge was fun to build for you. Okay. Pick 2. Pick 2, let's take a look at who you are. Who are you, Pick 2? You're a very determined person. Action-oriented, very in control of self, like structure. Maybe a Capricorn, have a lot of willpower, maybe an Aries. Very driven. More Capricorn energy comes through. Because you know you have a lot of power, and because you know you like to know the outcome of things, maybe you're a person who stops and looks at things from other angles before you proceed. You do have things where you feel restricted, where you don't want to go in those directions, and so you may stall or delay or stay in an undecided position at times. You look for your happiness within, but that you may find your happiness in indulging and materialistic type things. Maybe there's some Taurus energy in you where you like the comforts of earth. And maybe feel slightly dissatisfied in the realm of love. There's some maybe deep-seated worries, fears, secrets that are kind of always trying to get your attention, so you may do a lot to try to avoid those. Even as you try to grow something new, those things might feel like an impending doom, kind of. And that may cause you to isolate at times. and you do feel lonely at times, maybe perhaps that's people can't understand you. And maybe that's because they're trying to relate on the surface level where you allow them, but haven't been able to meet you at those deeper levels, where because maybe you're feeling shameful about those things in there and you don't want people to see. You haven't loved yourself in the spots that need your love yet, you know. But maybe you are in a process of releasing limiting beliefs and looking at the darkness in order to explore it and detach from it. And I think when it is difficult for you to make a choice, decisions are difficult for you. Maybe you just know too much, right? You just know that there's a risk in everything, and maybe there has been high stakes for you to make a decision in the past at some point. Maybe you'd rather just wish for something and then hope that things fall into place without you having to be the one to make a decision. Okay. I took that card back because these were actually part of the What Needs to Be Said deck that I'm going to look into a little more later. Okay, and I asked for this trauma deck card to show me any traumas that are still affecting you or being used toward your destiny. And we got beaten, and this may have been physical abuse. But what I felt when it came out was this, you know when you play a game and there's a winner and a loser? I feel like maybe being the loser was a traumatic moment for you at some point. Maybe it was among peers where there was like teasing or something, or maybe it was a parental figure that expected you to win all the time, or that emulated to you that winning was the only option, that losers, like maybe losers is a thing to you. And you don't want to be a loser, and maybe that's why you don't like making decisions as well. Let's see what these... We've got the song Hopelessly Devoted to You, Olivia Newton-John. I think that you've gone in wholeheartedly into relationships where you were willing to devote yourself 100%. That you were maybe kept blind. Maybe when you devoted yourself, you only did it half-heartedly because you weren't able to make the decision to go in wholly. And that's why it was a hopeless devotion, because it wasn't into the depths where it could have been. Maybe there are a lot of people that want things from you. Maybe you've been providing to a lot of people. You like to have a whole crew, maybe to avoid that loneliness. I think you like to have a lot of people ride with you, and some very unique people as well. I think you like to surround yourself with bright lights. I just got on the stage perhaps, but also like people, you know, that are also shining bright, but that may make you feel lonely because everyone's only worried about themselves. I think you enjoy words, and maybe words elude you at times. When you can find the right ones, it feels really good. But when there's a lot to say and a lot to express, you might not know where to start. You might feel like it's overwhelming. You might feel like you don't have the time. You might feel like it's a waste of time. Oh, there's another song here. Eye of the Tiger, Survivor. Yeah, you may be willing to put a lot of effort into something. And so when things aren't going well, or when you're trying to just move forward, but there's all these negative thoughts and things like that, you just like put yourself on drive and you go. You don't you ignore that kind of stuff kind of and just go forward. I think you can be sneaky. I think you can weasel your way into places, maybe into people's hearts, you know, maybe by showing them that you are devoted, but maybe it's not like a true devotion, right? Maybe they just think it is or something, and that makes people let you in. That's what you do to allow people to let you in. And I do think that you think that you're part of a bigger picture, just like a link in the chain, that you will use force as needed, but you understand the value of having others and networking. I think you're someone who enjoys all seasons, and you're as comfortable at the beach as you are at skiing in the winter, something like that. Like, you maybe like to travel to experience all things. Yeah. I think you might be a singer. You might like to harmonize. You might like to spread cheer through music. You might be an instrumentalist. You have a lot of colors, and you're a very grounded person. Again, traveling. You might have a truck. You might have a camper. You might like to go camping. But you're very independent, and I think you like to stay out of the emotional body if you can. You are a bright light. The only place that's really, you know, got the shadow in you is in your mind. It's just your worries and your fears, and maybe a worry about something that you've done, and it is in the past, though. I think you you watch people from afar. I mean, stalker is the word that came up, but I'm not trying to hurt you. But I think it's fairly innocent, because this is a child peering through the fence. So I think you just like to know, so you look and you watch, and not necessarily in a way that people know you're watching. And I think that you've been to a lot of celebrations. You've celebrated a lot. That you've had a lot of things to celebrate. That you have a collection of those things with you as well. And you thrive on those things. You remember those things to make yourself feel good again, and to stave off the loneliness and things like that. Okay. How does pick 2 take care of their body? I think you indulge in the sex. I think that your sexuality is important to you. And I think that you are in touch with the earth very much. You stay grounded. You stay in nature. You don't mind working to be secure and have what you need for your body. A house, money, food, you know, all those type of things. Enough money to have fun. And I think you also use visualization to achieve what you want. So maybe even during sex, maybe you use that technique during sex to manifest. But visualizing what you want, so you may be familiar with the law of attraction. And you may speak to your cells by visualizing. You may put the goal in your mind and then tell your body you're going to move towards it. Yeah. What are your strengths? I think you know you can support yourself, that you are a provider, and that you are provided for in all ways. You have a plan for things. You're strategic. You make it happen. and as I said that, this was flipping over and it said strategy. Yeah, you have a plan, and you know if that plan doesn't work, there'll be another plan that works. Your strengths is that you put your mind to something and you do it. You know there will be a solution. You just have to allow it to come. You just have to find it. You just have to allow it. So you do. Let's talk about some things that might be going on with you. You're very attentive to detail. You're a person who likes to be in a commitment. Perhaps in a relationship. You may be married. You may be healing a marriage. Writing a new story to live. You got 3 weeks for a time. Your friend, oh, you may be committed to your friends. Ah, yeah. Committed to healing, committed to paying attention to details in your day-to-day life and work, and committed to friendships. Maybe more than marriage if you're not married. You are an earth angel. And maybe you're just beginning to realize that you're a healer, and just beginning to heal some feelings that had been stuck in you. And I think you're writing a new story about any narcissism that may have existed in your life and what it means to love yourself. And I think that you are allowing yourself to love yourself in a healthy way. And that you are in service to others. You are someone who can be counted on. Especially by your friends. Your friends count on you a lot. You're very passionate. You let your passion drive you quite a bit, though. And that comes from a past life where you really indulged in those things. We saw that carried over with your sexuality. You may be experiencing a birthday or a reason to celebrate soon. You got 7 to 8 months. You enjoy the truth. You'll be finding out the truth in 7 to 8 months about something that you're very passionate about, and maybe closing a cycle on it. You have kept hope alive for a long time in situations that may have been past their due date. You can see under the surface with the Scorpio energy. You may be friends with Scorpios. You may like Scorpio energy. You are a starseed. You came here to Earth to assist in the evolution. And that's something that you might be communicating about. What are the things that influence your relationship with the spirit world? Your mother, you're a stern matriarch, cold. There may have been a female who was very stern and structured that maybe introduced you to spirituality or deterred you away from it. You may have also had a near-death experience. So that might have put you in touch with the spirit realm. Also an unhappy family life. And so in looking for that missing thing, it might have driven you towards spirituality. How do you communicate with the spirit world? Through your crown chakra. that biggest picture view. You get downloads right from God, from the universe. You just get your knowings when you're in nature, when you're grounded, maybe when you're barefoot on the earth, in the stillness and silence, and get lost in the void here. You're getting these downloads. And then when you sit and know, when you just know you have this from your heart, when you can just feel it through your heart, that's how you connect to the spirit world the most. There may be other ways, but these are the most ways, the most common ways for you. And what needs to be said with the spirit world? You know, make your wish. What do you want? Put it out to the spirit world. You may need to take action, but at least put it out there. Don't give up. I feel like you already know that. But maybe you need to say that to someone or to the spirit world. Maybe they don't know that you are going to be devoted or committed to something. You know, maybe they need to know that. Can you read my mind? You know, are you asking your spirit guides, you know, do you want to know if they're with you, if they know what's going on with you, if they know what you're thinking? And then you might need to express some frustration to them. You know, let them know. Ask them for signs and for specific answers to things that you'd like to know. You know, tell them what you're frustrated about, and maybe they can answer the reason why you're experiencing it, if you ask. Okay? If God and the universe could remind you of anything, what would they want you to know? Star bathing, light body, crystal grid transmission activation, to spend some time in the stars. The courageous peony, multifaceted, unique nature, let yourself be seen, that you're meant to be seen, that you're meant to shine, that you have wisdom here to share with others. It's not wrong that you shine. The doubts that you carry, those will be integrated into you once you deal with the emotional body. But then you'll be able to let yourself shine freely. You're not alone. Isolation, physical connection, and community. If you're not feeling connected to the people that you have around you because they're all in their own worlds, just know that you are connected to the spirit world, and there are those here that can and will connect with you on the level that you're at. And maybe right now you feel like you're not with those people, that they're far from you or opposite of you, but they are there. And big picture thinking, Pleiades energy, visionary, inspired ideas. Yes, that when you are more comfortable and when you have dealt with the emotional body and make the room, you will get a download, an inspired idea that will help you move on in your journey. Okay, so that might be comforting to know. So this has been a reading about building the bridge from who you are on earth and who your soul came here to be. So I hope you find that helpful. And thank you for spending your time with me. I'm going to move on to pile 3. And maybe we'll see you next time. Thank you. Hi, pile 3. I'm just going to take a moment to take a sip of water. So that might be something that you need to do too. Okay. So pile 3, if you're staying hydrated, let's see who else you are. Who are you, pile 3? You are a good friend. You are very creative. You like to collaborate with others and celebrate life. You're a passionate person, that you have your energy in a lot of different directions, though, and you might find yourself delayed or frustrated at times when you're being pulled in many directions. You might react in haste in those kind of stressful situations. You're very adaptable, though, and you prioritize the things that are important to you. You manage your time so that you can fit it all in. But again, we've got 2 cards mentioning the frustration and the delays, and And I think that you've developed a way to cope with all of these things that you want to do, including celebrate life, but also have all these directions that you're in. And you may be experiencing the delays and the frustration because it's time to break out of some of those zones of comfort, and you may be resisting that, okay? You may be a person who resists some change that needs to happen, and you have a lot of personal goals, and you don't like that unknown. You'd like to be in control. You like to know what's going on. So you're not planning to break out of some of these methods of coping and relating at this time, but I feel like Spirit is mentioning like this because that is the angst. That there may be things that you've lost, and you may be dwelling on the things that you lost and not realize that there are other things that you gained, or there are things that you still have. So there may be a little bit of pessimism that creeps in upon failure, and also regret and disappointment. And if you've developed it as a pattern, as a part of who you are, that means it just may not be your habit to realize that there's always something left, and what's left is always the thing that's meant for you. And you may get really serious when you're in that state of regret and failure, and be reliving the past, and not be able to do that celebrating that you like to do so much. You may feel like you'll be found out. You may feel like you have a lot of secrets to keep, that if people really knew, they wouldn't really like you as much, or something like that. And that might be a lie that you tell yourself. You have a lot of spiritual wisdom. You're a traditionalist. You understand the purpose in conformity and tradition and institutions. Okay. If there are any traumas that are affecting you throughout your life and your purpose, what is that? And we got addiction. So I think you're someone who has dealt with addiction, and you may still be dealing with addiction, but this is part of your life's purpose. So perhaps you have been working to overcome it throughout life, and you're getting really good at it, perhaps. I think you do really enjoy the good life and the good things and the sensual things, and I think that you're not afraid to put your feet up and enjoy the stuff you like. And you have a lot going on at any given time, but you are very wise, and people know that no matter what. It's just part of the presence that you are. You don't have to say anything. You could be standing against the wall, and people know this about you, that you're a wise being, and you are beautiful. You might stand out in a crowd. You might stand out as striking, as grounded, as you might be the grounding force. When everything's new, you might be the thing that's solid and unchanging. And I think you enjoy eccentricity. I think you like things that are a little bit different, and it maybe like makes up for this traditionalist that you are. It's like you also appreciate and enjoy things that aren't traditional. Maybe people that aren't traditional. I think when your emotions come out, they come out in a burst. I think they're all there saturating the earth and saturating, and then a sea, you have a sea of emotion nearby, but that's all. The only time it really gets any attention is when it bursts out of you, and I think it bursts out in ways that might even seem like a big deal to others, but you know that's just not even the tip of the iceberg kind of thing. A little piece of yourself has been left behind in childhood, and It just felt like you didn't need it when you left it behind. You felt like you didn't need it when you left it behind. I think it might have been dealing with the emotional body. And I think you became sort of prickly in some situations as a way to cope. I think you are a person who is happy to make do with meager means. Like, I don't think you need luxury to be happy. I don't think you mind luxury at all, but I just think that you're also not too involved in images. Like, the luxury that you enjoy, the living it up that you enjoy, is because you enjoy it. I don't think it's necessarily for anybody else's, for anyone else's facade. I think any facade that you have is more about protecting the emotional body. You may feel worn out. Look at these bricks. They're a brick wall, and it's painted, and it's like somebody tried to cover up that brick wall with the plaster that's now chipped off and paint that's chipped off, but the brick wall is solid. You have a good foundation. You have a lot that is about you that can be counted on. You're someone that can be counted on. And the mask that you wore is chipping off. It's falling away as you no longer need it. And what's being revealed is really this beautiful, like, see how the wall is actually much better looking than all this. So you're revealing parts of yourself that are comforting and solid and pretty. I think that you feel the right to judge things between right and wrong. You like things to be fair and balanced. You have spiritual guidance and you know it. You know that you're being nudged and guided divinely. Love for your brotherly love for your fellow man is part of you, an important part. There's lots of mysteries and secrets and unknown and self-undoing that maybe people don't even know about, but you can see it in yourself and in others. And as you acknowledge it, you clear the karma of it. Wow. Yeah, you're doing this because it's what you're guided to do. You're doing this because you came here many times before in ancient times and are utilizing the knowledge that you acquired at those times. You can feel into other people. This is the fifth harmonic, gifts and creativity. You may be very gifted and creative, but also you can feel other people's stuff. You're an empath. You're empathetic. Maybe you just don't want people to know that. You're also very shiny. Yeah, like we said before, you get noticed. You can't be in a room without being noticed. You shine a light on things. You shine a light on things that are in the dark. You shine a light on things in people that they don't even know are there. People may find you to be their enemy when you're not, because you're the one that they think of because you're shining the light on that dark place in there. The 12th house is where we can't see. That's our hidden enemies. So people might feel that way about you, even though it's not true. You acknowledge the truth. You shine a light on the truth. And after you acknowledge these things, you find new ways to feel about them, and then you accept those ways to feel. And I think that's how you're dealing with your emotional body. And this was part of your soul plan. to come here and clear up a lot of things that are very difficult that not a lot of people are equipped to deal with, but you are, because of your gifts, the gifts that you discovered you had in Atlantean times. You are transcending any like limitations that people feel about having to absorb other people's stuff or being sensitive or creative. I mean, you're just mastering it every step of the way, I believe, and I think that's why you're doing it in steps, so that you can master it. You're transforming through truth. You may be doing it with someone specific, another person. You're clearing karma with another person by balancing out energies and coming around to a new way to feel. Look at that. And then maybe even stepping into the Fool energy as part of your soul plan. The Fool, Aries, is the pioneer. Goes where others won't go, says what others won't say. Wow. And you're doing this all as the energy hits you in divine time. You're doing this as you're pushed to, as you feel like it's right. You're doing it when you're supposed to do it. Interesting. Okay. Oh, wow. Wow, wow. This is so deep. This song, You're Somebody Else, by Flora Cash. You look like yourself, but you're somebody else, and it's making me nervous. I can't sing at the moment because in pile 1 I got like a throat chakra attack and a sneeze and all kinds of stuff. And but this is a great song. I really like this song. But basically it's about sensing that somebody's different below the surface of what they are. I feel like you have that skill, but I feel like that's very true of you too. Yeah. People don't know what you really are. They're just starting to find out. What are some of the things that... Okay, let's look at how does pile 3 take care of their body? I think you take a lot of rest, you take vacation, you take care of your body by listening to what it needs, and if that's rest, you take that. You take a lot of quiet time to be with yourself, to listen to yourself, to gather your thoughts. Maybe even to try to dull your thoughts down. A lot of fun in your vacation times though, so it's like a good balance. What are your strengths? Breaking through. Yes, you like your comfort zones, and yes, you've been protecting yourself from certain uncomfortable feelings, but when it's time, you will break through and transform. That is one of your strengths. And also, oh, isn't this interesting? Oh, wow. So those energies... Okay, one of your strengths is making decisions. And then taking the action on those decisions. That's one of your strengths. Okay. And what are some of the influences that may have affected your relationship with spirit? We got childhood sexual abuse. So maybe, I mean, it's sometimes people are like, well, how can there be a God if child molesters and things like this exist? But so maybe that was some place where you lost faith, or maybe it was within faith that you were abused. The victim mentality. Okay. So in the 4D, okay, so at some point we came into 4D, and I think it was a few years ago now, or a couple, and that means all our thoughts became real much faster than they had in the 3D. And I think that you may have harbored some negative thoughts, and so they all hit you at once. And so where you were experiencing a lot more flow and freedom with these gifts that you have of shining, then everything kind of negative hit you. And that may have really affected the way that you relate to the spirit world. And also, it says mob father, leader. Maybe a parental figure, a father figure, or someone in authority over you deterred you from it. Or maybe it was the fact that you wanted to lead yourself and not depend on spirit. Okay, so these are the things that have affected your relationship with spirit. Now, what are the ways that you connect with spirit? Your soul is guiding you. Your soul is with you, and it's when you listen to your soul, that's you being guided by spirit. And I like that very much, because it would make sense if you like to lead yourself, that it would be your soul that you let in, that you listen to, because it's your own soul. And calling cards from heaven, you get signs, feathers. We got the ladybug here, the butterfly, the dragonfly. You know, light shining on certain things at certain times. Just calling cards from heaven. You get signs. Blending with spirit. Wow, okay. So this means you're a channel. This means you can let things channel through you. Energies, beings, gods, deceased loved ones. You can let spirit or energy combine with your own to speak through you, to be with you. You can take on the mannerisms of it. Yeah. You may not have even known that, but that is something that I think has always been happening for you. Maybe you've been taking on other energies, intentions and things like that. And maybe not even... Oh, yes, okay. So, in order to come in with this gift right here of blending with spirit, our boundaries need to be broken. So I just actually uncovered this gift in myself the other day, and I realized that the only reason I can have this blending with spirit gift, which I haven't tried it out much yet, I'm not really, loving the idea of it, because I, like you, want to be independent. I want to rule. Like, I even have tears coming to the back of my eyes right now as I say this, because I want to be the boss of me. I don't want anyone to violate my boundaries. But I realize that my boundaries have been violated, and they were violated in such a way in my childhood that I just abandoned myself and left my body when I was enduring beatings and things like that. That just things that were not like things that I could handle. I would just leave my body. And other things did mess with me in the spirit world. But we have sexual abuse here, and in childhood that would be a break of boundaries. And so in actuality, that trauma opened you up to this gift of blending with spirit, and this can be very useful, meaning that you can have the wisdom of more than just yourself. And it's hard for me to advise and feel great about telling you this right now, since I haven't quite come to terms with it in myself yet. I'm not meaning I'm not loving, I'm not like seeing the gift in this quite yet. Even like I have a lot of tears coming now. Like I feel like I don't want them to use my body. I don't want them to. I just want to be in control of my body. So I'll just let you sit with that. Maybe I'm just feeling also how you might feel when you have this reading talking to you about what it felt like to be violated in this way, okay? I mean, I just, it doesn't mean anything about your worth. It appears to be part of your soul plan in order to break the boundary that most people are bound by in this lifetime, and there must be a reason that you wanted to be able to blend with spirit. Okay? Now, what kind of things need to be said to spirit? You didn't hear me, so maybe there's a question that you've been asking of spirit that you want to repeat, or maybe they've been saying to you, look, we're trying to tell you something and you're not listening. Right? When you get these soul prompts, are you listening to them? And then you got my soul knows your soul. Maybe the souls that you're going to blend with are ones that you know. Maybe in this lifetime or another lifetime. Yeah, maybe it's someone that you will feel comfortable with blending with. To be very soft about this, to be gentle with yourself, to be gentle, that they're going to be gentle with you, that they are being gentle with you. And if you've already tried, maybe could you try again? That's what needs to be said between you and the spirit world, okay? And if we were to ask God and the universe for what they would like you to remember, these next cards tell us. Breath of the cosmos. My will to thy will. Micromanaging the universe. Yeah. This says that your soul has a plan, but you may not be allowing that plan to go forth because you're wanting to be in control. We got that right here. You want to be the leader, and it's very understandable, right? And if we've dealt with abuse where our boundaries were violated, it makes sense that we would then get very strong and very much not willing to let others violate us again. Okay? But this is God or the universe saying to you, we do have a big plan here. You are on board with it on this other level, but there's a scared child part of you trying to protect itself, and that part of you doesn't want to hear what's being said. Okay? But we can try again. It's okay. Let's be very gentle. Let's understand that part, why that part feels that way, and let's accept that that part feels that way, and then give that part the love and the protection that it needed. Child of the cosmos, the intelligence of the universe lies within you. Yeah. And on earth level, you might be this mob father leader type figure who's in control. But on the spiritual side, you're a child of the cosmos, meaning you're curious and you want to know these new things, and you ventured into this experience as an innocent being. The blue flame, spontaneous awakening, activation, integration time. So they're wanting to let you know that there's going to be more and more information coming to you. You're going to keep having these awakenings, keep freeing yourself, and you're going to keep integrating the wounds, the pains, the discomforts, the annoyances, the secrets, being overcommitted, like the reasons that you do that and things like that are all going to be integrated. Okay? And trust the timing. We had that too, right? When we have transit right here, that's all about timing. And it says, trust the wave you came in on. Time is not running out. Okay, so you haven't missed any opportunities here. You're totally fine to be gentle with yourself and just go through this process at the pace that you have presented in front of you. As long as you're not avoiding and running away from and trying to cope in the old way, you're doing great. And even if you are coping in the old way, it's not that you're not doing great, it's just that you are delaying, which you are already very good at. You know how to do that. No, we don't have that you're good at delaying. That was the last reading. I'm sorry. So scratch that last sentence. It didn't sit right. That's why I checked. Okay. Star ancestors. Hidden secrets. Lost wisdom. Look a little deeper. Yeah. So I feel like blending with spirit is going to be with your ancestors, with the people that you trust that are here and that you may already have communication with. And they are holding wisdom for you that they want to integrate into you. So there's more to see here, even in the spirit realm. Okay? That's what they're saying. And I want to honor you and your journey. And know that it does take a brave soul to come in and be willing to address these things and clear these karmas. Okay? And play this part. Where a lot of people can't even see you clearly. So it's been your job to just see yourself clearly, and you've done a really good job at that. And now it's time to free yourself from the last bit of things that are holding you back. So well done, Pile 3. Thank you for spending your time with me. I hope this helps. See you next time.